How disappointing is it to concede that you're out of the top six with this many games to go?
Oh, look, I think it's probably a reflection of where we're at the moment. We've had some blowouts in scores over the last 3 weeks. I think it's been more about getting players fit and ready. There's a lot of boys coming back, and also there's no lack of desperation from the boys. It just hasn't clicked, and we've been punished as well because of lack of sharpness and so on. But unfortunately, that's where we're at. We've had a lot of interruptions this season. It hasn't been as fluid as what we would have liked. But again, I think the group now is galvanised to finish the season well.
Why wasn't the group galvanised 2 or 3 games ago when the season was still on the line?
Well, how do you know they weren't galvanised? Sorry.
Well, just with the performances.
But I think I just alluded to the fact that a lot of players were coming back from injury. There's a lot of players that haven't played together. Even last week against Western United, I had 5 players who don't have 90 minutes in them, and we have to rush them to play, and that's a decision I made. And but it's not because it's a lack of effort. All those boys try their hardest. Sometimes it happens, it works, and then sometimes when down on confidence and and everything becomes heavier. And when you concede after 2 minutes, for example, it just becomes a bigger obstacle to overcome. But I never question the players' desire to win the game.
Are you worried about your future at the club? Obviously, you had this great season last season, but you're off contract and the way that the trajectory is going at the moment.
I'm not worried about my future. Honestly, if the club decided tomorrow to let me go, I've got plenty of opportunities to get employment elsewhere, probably a well-deserved break as well, but I'm not thinking like that. I've had a great time with this club now for 6 years, and last year was probably, I think it's the best year we've ever had. This year we've changed nothing in terms of what our long-term plan is, to bring new generation of young players through, try to get results and be as successful as we can. Is it ideal what we're going through at the moment? No, but at the same time, the whole season hasn't been, what an ideal preparation is. So, I'm accountable for that. And if the club decides, look, they want to move in another direction, so be it. But, all I'm going to give is 100%, like my players.
Do you take responsibility with recruitment as well, just in terms of...
Yeah,
do you feel like that, say with the import spots, 3 weren't in the starting 11 last week?
But that doesn't mean they're bad imports. Do you think they're bad imports?
Well, I guess it's a waste of one having a goalkeeper who's not playing.
Okay, but not all players are performing to maximum, right? Like, players can be accountable for their performances. Like, Joshy probably went through a bit of a rough trot. Obi came in, took his spot. That's a natural part of team selection. I don't look at any of my imports as being bad signings. I just don't think they've had the time in order to gel and maximise what we can do in a playing style.
And what's the approach for the remaining games?
Give 100%.
So will you field your strongest 11, or do you want to blood some young players now?
I think I've blooded enough young players. It's going to be the guys that, I feel like will do a job in the game. And
with Sydney, they obviously had a pretty taxing game last night. Mm-hmm. Could that expose them with fatigue at all?
Don't think so. I think they had a week off the week before, so I think they'll be refreshed for this game. Yesterday wasn't really hot, even though John Book pushed them. I think they showed a lot of resilience as a group when they had 4 or 5 performances in a row, and even when they played us, they can back up performance after performance, and they have the home advantage as well.
And just want to confirm, you do want to obviously be at the club long term?
Sure.
Still your intention?
Always my intention. I love this club. Don't want to go to another ALeague club. I've said that to many people. My goal is to win a championship with this club. Might take a year, might take 3 years, might take 4 years. I'm not really sure, but there's a lot of good people here. There's a lot of good fans. There's a lot of good things that can happen at this club. But again, football's like that. Very fickle. Last year, flavour of the month. Now everyone hates me, which is fine. It's all right. I have a lot of friends that hate me now. So, look, it's football.
Do you still feel like you have the support from the club bosses?
Yes.
And with the fans, how have you coped with sort of the turning of the tide, I suppose, with some of the
I'm not on socials, so I don't read the crap. I'll be honest with you. And people should have an opinion, and I think that that's very healthy. But I like informed opinions, right? So if someone comes up to me and tells me we're playing crap because so-and-so the tactics, I can wear that. I can't handle a narrative where everything is negative because, we finished against Brisbane with 8 under-23 players, all right? I think before my tenure, I think we had 2 or 3 from the academy, and now we're finishing strong with a really good base of homegrown players. I think people's expectation that we're going to be ready overnight is unrealistic. Yeah, has the football been great? No. We've shown glimpses. And when confidence is down, it's harder to play that football, and that's on me. But this question of the players not trying or the players not good enough and all that's all crap for me. Like those players give 100%, and I'll stick by them. And again, I look at other teams that are doing well this year. Like even Newcastle now have started to come good. Last year, they were down the bottom, same group of players, same narrative. West United are second now, same narrative. They were smashing Johnny last year, saying that, it wasn't doing well. Look at them this year, and they've only added 1 or 2 players. So again, I'm not here to say that you should have instant success straight away. It takes time, it's gradual. And that's the way football works.
Do you think you have to have a bad season to have a good season?
I'd prefer having good seasons instead of, look, this is more of a philosophical question. I think you need to have bad seasons in order to appreciate the good seasons, yeah. And I think that young players need to go through this in order to appreciate how hard it is. Last year was, I don't want to say easy because we were a team last year. We were very cohesive. I had the team from the year before. They had a lot to prove. This year, different dynamic, when you lose so many players and you're trying to gel a team straight away and the expectations high, different expectations. But I think from the other side of this, if we get through this, I think we've got a team there that's going to be really healthy next year.
Because with the tactics, I guess one of the frustration from the fans is the lack of goal-scoring opportunities. How do you go about creating more of those? Have you got a plan there?
If I had the perfect answer, I wouldn't be in this, predicament. I think the main frustration is probably the fact that there's an over-reliance on Costa. Because he's got all the goals at the moment, and we've, moved on some players and so on, and there's been some injuries, big injuries, and it's been very hard to get that fluidity in the front third. But it's not for me something that the players are not trying to execute. We've actually had an improvement over the last couple of months in terms of our attacking output. We just haven't been able to hit, score those goals. We've had some big chances in big games, and it's a process. And if I'm expecting like Nathan Walker and Luke Brooks-Smith to constantly turn over goals, I must be an amazing coach because they're 16, 17 with very limited experience in the A-League. Chico's just come in, Marco's just come back in now. So if you give me 10 games and we're struggling with those players back in, then you can come and critique me a lot harder, which I take on board. But again, when you have so much movement, it's very hard to find that chemistry.
Because now that you've got everyone, obviously not Kolakowski, but everyone's fully available,
yep.
fully fit. Do you feel like there is enough that you can restore some pride and finish the season?
Yeah, 100%. It's like anything, like if you're in a rut, it's very hard to just switch it on and focus and get the optimal desired outcome. It's not that easy because then everyone would be every week a result will change because people's mindsets are tuned on, and it's not that easy. We just need one good performance under our belt, and it can come this Sunday, And we could play terribly, score 1 goal, win 1-0, and then the confidence is back. Or we can, run as hard as we can, work as hard as we can, and, we could lose 4-3, but it's more about, the performance. And then if the performance is good consistently over time, there's going to be a game where it breaks and then, everything swings back our way.
How has the mood been at training as well? How have the players responded?
Yeah, look, I've said this before, like, the environment can be really toxic when it comes to, when you're losing a lot of games, but I don't feel that from the boys. The boys have been pretty switched on. I think, it's hard probably for the senior players because, their expectation was to perform well, but, again, they're focused.
And the expectation off in some ways is you're thinking of less pressure, better performance, hopefully?
Potentially, the pressure will be on themselves to perform. Whether you make the 6 or not is irrelevant. They're professionals. They want to be the best version of themselves. And my job is to make sure they're focused and they give 100%, and that's all I can ask.
Does it get any different, facing off against Ufi in any way, or is it?
Look, it's good to see him, and again, there's no hiding the fact that we're good friends, and I want the best for him as a coach and for him to succeed. But on Sunday, I want the 3 points, and it's no different.
How do you shut down Douglas Costa? I don't know if you could. It's hard to watch the game last night. In New
Watch a
Zealand,
game.
but,
Watch a game. Yeah.
He had a pretty impressive second half.
He's a good player. Playing some good leagues, and love a player like that. He's been great, but I think their whole team dynamic is very good. They're a little bit more fluid in their build-up, a little bit harder to defend against, and I think on their day, especially Klamala up top and Senna, these are good players, and I think Alex Grant at the back is a great addition in defence. Make him more solidified. So they're going to be. I think they're going to be up there. I think them, Auckland. I still think City got a lot to offer. Even Adelaide, even though they're going through a slump now, a good team.